Hi, welcome to Chess 24/7, and this is the third video in the playlist of chess imbalances. And today I will be talking about the imbalance of initiative. To be very honest, when I first heard that initiative is also considered to be an imbalance, I really did not know how to react because before reading this book, I used to think that initiative is just a very temporary thing which can move, which can change after one or two moves only, so it is really dynamic, it changes really swiftly. But after reading this book, my vision about initiative has totally changed, and I'm sure the vision and the concept that you used to think about initiative will change after I show you some examples, and I'll be telling you the points that Jeremy has founded for this topic. But this is a quite short topic, and the video will be quite short too, because there is not much to explain in this topic. So with that said, let's get started. Okay, so if we look at the definition which Jeremy has provided us about initiative, is that initiative means when you have control of the game, you are said to possess the initiative. The initiative can be based on static or dynamic factors. For example, if you are attacking a weak pawn and your opponent is reduced to a passive defense, you have the initiative. Although this is a static defense, you would still own the initiative if you have a poor pawn structure, but your lead in development gives you an attack. But this time the initiative is based on the dynamic factor. In order to exemplify his ideas, Jeremy has provided us an example. White plays e4 and black plays c5 Sicilian defense. And the next move is quite astonishing. He plays d4, giving up his center pawn. C takes d4, and now instead of developing or taking the pawn with his queen, he sacrifices his another pawn by playing c3. D takes c3, and now he develops and captures a pawn with knight take c3. One might ask that why has white sacrificed two of his pawns, and one pawn being a center pawn, and we already know that how much effective the center duo is, or the center pawns are. One answer to all these questions would be to gain lead in development, because the white knight on c3 is now developed and none of the pieces of black side are developed, although this is the opening stage and black can catch up in the development. And Jeremy also refutes this gambit, because this gambit is giving up material in the cost of development. All the development is really dynamic as initiative is. Jeremy says that you should fight for the center and you should try to gain initiative along the play. Another advantage of this gambit is that it has opened the c file, and white can gain control of the c file by bringing his rook, and could force black to give up the control of the c file. But again, it is the opening stage and the files could be opened in the game later on. There is another example which exemplifies initiative and sacrifices, and it starts with e4. White plays e5, black plays e5, and after that white plays d4, e takes d4, and he sacrifices another pawn c3, and d takes c3, and now instead of regaining the pawn on c3 with his knight, he develops his bishop to c4, and black takes the pawn on b2, and here it's necessary that white takes the pawn on b2, otherwise he would lose the rook. So bishop takes b2. Now we can clearly see that white is down 3 pawns, but there is a reason behind this sacrifice, and the main reason of this opening is, by the way, the name of this opening is Danish Gambit. The main reason of sacrificing 3 pawns by white is that it open up the diagonals for the white and black bishops. They are aiming down at the black king, and although I think that black can overcome with this problem and can castle on the queen side, because the bishops would then have to reroute and would have to change their path in order to attack the black king if he's castled on the queen side, and it would take some time in which time the black could improve the play by developing his pieces also. So I have a game that I played on Fix few days back where my opponent was busy in pawn hunting, and I was able to I was lucky enough to able to overram him in the game. Anyways, let's begin the game. So I was right. I played e4. My opponent replied with c5 Sicilian defense. I played knight f3, going for the open Sicilian. He played d6, but instead of playing d4, I played c4, and this is now English opening. He played knight c6. I played knight c3, and I generally like to play the Botvinnik variation of English opening. He played a6. I played g3, trying to feint to my bishop, and he played bishop g4, pinning my knight to my queen. I played bishop d2, and he played knight e5. And now my knight on f3 is attacked twice, although it is protected twice, so I don't need to worry that much about. And on the same time, my c4 pawn is also hit, but I castled, and my opponent took the pawn on c4, and he thought he's up a pawn. But after queen a4 check, b5 was played, and knight takes b5, and after that my opponent played foolishly knight b6 and I played knight c7 checkmate. And all was because he wanted to grab that pawn. But after he played b5 and I took the pawn on b5, let's see, he takes my knight on a5. Then queen takes b5, and there's only one way to protect the check, and that's queen d7, and after that queen takes c4, and I'm up a pawn. And it all was because, and the queen side is totally disrupted, and it all was because white was busy in capturing pawns. But well, that's something I wanted to share with you guys. And yeah, that's for this video. I know this is a very short video, but there is not much in the book about initiative. So yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you liked it, and with that said, this is the end of this video. See you in my next video. Till then, tada, goodbye.